All right, what is going on, my dudes? We're back here today with this guy, Spidey Classic. So, a few months ago at this point, I made a video of the first look at Spidey on the beta, right? Like, first draft of this guy, and 95% of people were disappointed, and in my opinion, rightfully so. He had, like, almost no damage, his utility was okay, and it was just, like, not worth it, right? So today we're going to be jumping into the final buff details of Spidey. He is certainly improved from that first draft, and we'll go over exactly what has changed, what is better, what is going to be used for, all that fun stuff. Most people watching this video probably have a 5 or 6 star OG Spidey, which is always fun when the really old champions get buffed, because pretty much everybody can just like log in and mess around with them right away. So let's jump into this guy like we always do. So prestige is okay. You're not going to want to give him 6 stones. Makes sense, right? It's Spidey. Attributes, these things are whatever. So, Spidey's mechanics. Spidey swings back into the contest with a brand new set of abilities and new drip to boot. Yeah, he looks good. He looks really good, the new model. Who said you can't teach an old spider new tricks? With this update, Parker has finally fixed up his malfunctioning web shooters and can now actually web up his opponent. The stacks of webbing passive he applies in the special 1 constitute the core of his gameplay. As the stacks of webbing on the opponent increase, corresponding debuffs are applied to the opponent. These last indefinitely, so as long as the stack count on webbing remains high enough. I read that weird, but you get it. To keep that webbing up, you'll want to control the opponent's movement and actions as much as possible. A little bit of webbing duration falls off each time the opponent attacks or moves. Not as much as it used to. It used to like fall off right away. Now it's very manageable. Attacking is pretty self-explanatory, but to be clear, moving is defined when the champion dashes forward or backwards, evades, or stands up off the ground. So while playing, do your best to keep the opponent under lock. Okay, so this is like great. Let's go into like the abilities. This is a lot of text. But yeah, if you want to learn more about Spidey, how he works, go read that on the forums and stuff like that. Strengths and weaknesses, I'll tell you about that as we go along. So, always active. Spider-Man's basic attacks have a 25% chance to inflict a taunt debuff for 7 seconds, reducing their attack rating by 1%, and it makes them want to throw their special attack by, I believe, 70%, something like that. But yeah, the taunt is great for baiting out their special attacks and reducing their attack rating, all that fun stuff. Also, if you run Inequity, it's going to add additional attack rating reduction, which is always great, which is a great mastery you should be running, in my opinion. Anyway, this chance is increased by a flat 75% against stunned opponents, so you definitely want to be hitting them when they're stunned. Spider-Man has a 2% chance to evade attacks for each taunt effect on the opponent, and this does not trigger while blocking, which is great, unless the attack is unblockable, which is also great. Now, this right here is new and huge. The duration of stun debuffs on non-skill opponents cannot be reduced. That means Limber, the Limber Mastery and Battlegrounds Alliance War on the opponent, Limber and Labyrinth of Legends and other such nodes cannot be reduced. That is very powerful. That is incredibly powerful. And while the opponent is stunned, their ability power rate is reduced by 50%. This right here is a very, very solid piece of utility. So, you'll want to parry as much as possible in order to get the most taunt debuffs on the opponent. In turn, these taunts should work wonders in reducing the amount of chip damage through block, of course. So he has webbing. Spider-Man uses his special attacks to web up his opponent. As more webbing is applied, the opponent suffers various non-stacking debuffs. Webbing falls off slowly as the opponent attacks and moves. So, if you have 1 webbing on the opponent, you put a debilitate debuff of 35% potency. With 2 webbings, you have a decelerate debuff, and with 3, you have a suppression. Suppression reduces their combat power rate when you hit them. Decelerate is going to reduce their unstoppable and evadability accuracy by 50%, and then debilitate extends the duration of all of your debuffs by 35%. Remember that the debuffs from webbing are applied each time a new stack of webbing is added, so long as the current webbing stack count matches the listed webbing threshold above. The debuffs will stay until the stack count falls below the threshold. The timer on each stack of webbing will go down a little each time the opponent uses any attack or moves. Great. So, the special 1 simply applies a stack of webbing to the opponent. So, there are 2 web shooter attacks in the special, right? So basically, you get 2 of those debuffs from the special 1. You get the debilitate, you get the decelerate debuff from the opponent, and the second one gives you the suppression if you need it. And if you have your awakened ability, you gain a second copy of each debuff, right? So that means it goes up to 30% suppression, 100% decelerate, stopping the unstoppable and the evade by 100%, and then increasing your debuffs by 70%. That is quite long, man. That's quite long, especially when that considers the stuns that you put on them. The special 2, and inflict a stun debuff on the opponent for 3 seconds can be increased by 70 seconds after the special 1, by 70%. While the stun is active, the opponent's physical resistance is lowered by 900 for each taunt on them. We did it. We got the damage. That's where the damage comes from. So yeah, he didn't have this. He didn't have this initially. And there were lots of, there literally, no exaggeration, billions of suggestions in the comments of that video being like, this is how they should increase damage. And I'd say most of them revolves around something like, he should gain a fury for every thing on them. He should gain put a physical resistance for every taunt on him. He should get a fury for every taunt, like something like that. It makes sense, right? The amount of taunts that you have, their physical resistance is lowered by 900 for each taunt. That's a lot. 900 is a decent bit. So you put the special 2 on, right? You got the stun debuff for about 5 seconds with the 70% increase. And then you have, let's say, 10 taunts. Minus 9,000 physical resistance. That is quite a bit, right? So the special 2, when it crits, it's going to be very, very chunky. And then your basic attack is going to be chunky as well. But the main source of damage in Spider-Man's rotation, throw this with 1 or more debilitates on the opponent to chain more hits into the stun, allowing for even greater damage. For a short fight, you should only need a single special 1, I agree. But for longer fights, you may want to consider throwing 2 specials for increased damage and control. So, basically, if you want to use this guy in Battlegrounds or War, you really can go like special 1, special 2, and then you can like combo them while they're stunned. Parry, combo, special 2, repeat. Like, he's going to be able to do stuff pretty fast. Special 3, Thwip Pow, has 5 stacks of webbing. A simple attack with a simple effect. Hit the opponent with this, you won't have to worry about webbing durations for a while. Yeah, I mean, don't use this. You want to use special 2, special 1, but if you get pushed there, you get a little bit of a benefit, right? So the Sig ability, increased agility coupled with 6th Sense for imminent danger, grants a 27.90. Why is that like that? I just, come on. Grants a 27.95% chance to evade attacks. This does not trigger while blocking unless unblockable. Great, more evade for you. That's good. The duration of Spider-Man's personal taunt is increased by 4 seconds. Very nice, of course. And the potency of the taunt is increased by 2% flat. Very nice as well. And 4+ webbing. The debuffs from webbing can stack up to 2 times. So if you throw 2 special 1s, you get the 4 debuffs. Further increases Spider-Man's survivability and damage through strengthened taunts and grants him even more control and utility than an additional stack of debuffs. Synergy bonuses. With Symbiote Spidey, Stealth Suit Spidey, Stark Enhanced Spidey, and Spider-Man Supreme, where the hell is Spidey 2099? I'm stopping this video now. Gain 10% chance to evade, does not trigger while blocking, except against unblockable attacks. Onomatopotent. So the webbing falls off 50% slower. That's great for Spidey. Honestly, it's very, very nice for him. With Wolverine, bleed duration is increased by 15%. That's probably solid on a 6-star Horseman Wolverine. And then Nightcrawler, 40% flat evaded. I haven't messed with that, but that's probably like makes him ridiculous with the evading. With Doc Ock over here, heavy attack inflicts a non-stacking injury debuff for 13 seconds. Hitting an injured opponent bypasses 100% of physical resistance. That's pretty solid. That's pretty solid, man, for sure. It's going to increase his damage against a lot of different opponents. 100% is a big number. So yeah, Doc Ock gains a 15% chance to evade attacks for each active breakthrough. And you can have 3 different ones, right? So 15, 30, 45%. Does that stack? Even still, 45% is a lot. Raven! Spider-Man Classic, 8+ webbing, root debuff for 2 seconds. 8+ webbing. You're probably never going to hit that. But yeah, 8+ webbing, that might be a typo. Root debuff for 2 seconds. You don't really need that. You don't really need that anyway. But anyway, and then we got my kitty senses are purring. Oof. With Black Cat on evade, inflict a physical vulnerability debuff for 30 seconds. With Hit Monkey, with 6+ webbing, fragility debuff that increases critical damage rating by 2,400. I didn't know this exists. Oh, that is going to be pretty chunky, man. 2,400. And with Shang-Chi, Spider-Man can use perfect timing while performing a well-timed block or dodging an attack to inflict a physical vulnerability, reducing physical resistance by 1,400 for 30 seconds. Yeah, man, so you could definitely beef this guy up even more. So yeah, this guy is certainly much improved from first draft, no doubt about it. He's still rather simple. He's a very simple champ. You parry, you hit the opponent, you use special 1. You parry, you hit the opponent, you use special 2. You hit them a lot. You use special 2 again, and they're probably even dead. So yeah, good stuff, man. He's very simple. He could do some interesting things. He has some decent utility, and yeah, definitely improved from the original version. Big improvement from the beta version, the first beta version, which wasn't the best, right? Let's be real. But yeah, this one's probably gonna be pretty fun, man. Let me know what you think about Spidey in the comment section below. That's it for this one. I'll be seeing you around. Hit the subscribe button and stuff. I didn't say it, but you know, you already hit it, right? You already hit it. You already hit it.